Okay, I'm going to try to do this again. So I've turned on the recording software here. This is a cute little program called Cam Studio Recorder. Unfortunately, it's a beta version, so it does have some bugs in it. Alright, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go into Lightroom, and we're going to talk about what we need to do here to open up an image in Lightroom, work on it in Lightroom, export it to Photoshop, save it, and bring it back into Lightroom. Alright, so let's pick a different image. Here's a typical image. Alright, well, let's see, we want to do some things on it in Photoshop, in Lightroom rather, excuse me. First thing I'm going to do here, if I look over in the history palette, I've got some presets up here that I tend to run automatically. First preset is a lens correction for my camera. So if you watch the main image, when I click on this, see the image pops just a little bit. That's taking care of a little bit of a pinkish distortion in the lens. The next thing I do is I apply noise reduction to the image. So I have a preset that does that for me. So I just simply click on that. Alright. Now I've made those two corrections, and I've got the image, and let's say I want to maybe darken it down a little bit. Okay. Open up the shadows just a little bit with fill light. Alright. Add a little recovery to see if we can darken this little bit of a sky there is a little bit. Do we have any pure blacks we want to bring up a little? Let's try it and see. I don't know. I can live without the pure blacks in this image. Alright. And contrast, we can go lower in contrast. We can go higher in contrast. And in my case, I'm actually going to go lower in contrast a little bit. Now, I do want to bring the clarity up. Clarity basically is going to give us a little better detail. Alright. And we could certainly help the vibrance and the saturation a little. So let's bring up the saturation a little. Bring up the vibrance a bit more. There we go. Add a little life back into the picture. Okay. So we have an image. It's not a great image. And what I would like to do maybe is intensify these highlighted areas, the highlights in the picture, using something like, say, the Luminosity Mask. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to take this picture. We've worked on it a bit. We've got our changes recorded. You see, when we look at the history, we see a whole bunch of history steps that we've done to the image. All right. And now that we have that, I want to take the picture with these changes, and I want to send it over to Photoshop. Now, the way Lewis does this is he just simply goes up to Edit In, and he goes over to Edit in Adobe Photoshop. Now, that command opens up the image in Photoshop. You can make your changes. Then when you say Save, it brings it back into Lightroom. But it brings it back as either a TIFF or a PSD. Now, we started with a JPEG. It seems ridiculous to convert them into PSDs or TIFFs. They just take up a lot of room, storing, using up our battery a lot. All right, now why are we saying this? Color has been changed. The current color scheme has exceeded its allowed memory. This is not good. All right, I don't like that at all. Okay, so to get around that problem, what we're going to do, let me see what's going on here. Let's just X out of that. And I go back over to here. All right, so what I'm going to do, instead of doing the export in, I'm simply going to go to export. And I have a preset which simply makes a copy of what we currently have, adds the letter P to it, saves it to our external drive, or our hard drive, in the same folder that the original is in. And basically it adds the letter P to the file name, so we know it's a slightly different image. All right. And then I also, after it does all of that, then I tell it to open it up automatically in Photoshop. So I click there. You can see up here at processing, it's switched over to Photoshop. Okay, we brought the image into Photoshop with those changes applied to it. Now the only thing I'm going to do here, just for this quickie demonstration, is I'm going to open up the actions. I'm going to run the Luminosity Mask on this image. So I click there, stop it, restart the action to finish it. Boom. Okay, there we go. All right, and what did we do here? We went from there to there. All right, we may have gone too far. I can lower the opacity if I think I went too far. Okay. All right. Now, the image could use a little pop. So I'm also, while I'm here, I think I'm going to go up and go into levels and give me a little more intensity. Okay, that's looking a little bit better. Say okay to that. And I'm also going to add another action. This time I'm just going to do a local contrast enhancement on it. Gives it just that extra little bit of pop. Alright, I'm happy with that. I say layer, flatten the image. Okay, so she flattens the image. Once it's done that, I'm just simply going to say File, Save. Okay, it tells me that the file's been changed. I'm going to say that's okay. I know I changed it. Alright. Now I'm going to go back into Lightroom. You can see in Lightroom we have, this is the original image with our somewhat of our changes applied to it. And this is the new version that we just imported, re-imported back into Photoshop. And you'll notice there's a little, should be, oh, actually it isn't. Okay, so basically that's all we need to do. The last thing I like to do is I like to stack these into one image, into one stack. So I'm going to select these two images. I'm going to, let's try it again. I'm going to click on the one I like, the better of the two, is make that the dominant one. Then I'm going to tell it to stack that, group it into a stack. And what it does is it puts the P version on top of the stack. So we basically, when we look at the thumb list down here, everything looks okay. We're in good shape. Alright, at that place I'm going to minimize Lightroom. I'm going to minimize this one. It looks to me like I still have a program. Am I still running here? I can't tell. I guess I am. And then I'm going to